If you like what you hear in this podcast and want to help us keep the lights on, then you could support us on Ko-fi for as little as a £1 one-off donation. The links are in the episode description. Thanks for your support. This is Skip, the podcast where we tell you, in our opinion, which albums are truly unskippable. What is that face you're pulling? And which ones belong in the skip. Are you pulling your teeth, like, back behind your gums for a reason?
This is the face that I do sometimes.
Is it? Is it the face when you listen to dance music?
It is, yeah.
Because that's, I mean, it's not... is it dance music?
It's drum and bass.
What you gonna do? Do. If that didn't key you in, this week we are listening to Hold Your Colour by Pendulum, and it won't feature Blood Sugar.
Oh, no, it won't. It will feature different tracks to what we were expecting.
It's a shame. This one's been suggested by Terry from the email, so Terry, thank you very much for sending in this one. Altogether more modern than last week, but nonetheless a very different genre than what we've covered on the show previously, so actually really refreshing to come to a drum and bass, dance, whatever you want to call it, album. And an album that's kind of like very light on the vocals, which is pretty much a departure from everything we've covered up to this point.
Yeah, 100%, and something that's actually quite close to my heart.
Yes, you are something of a Pendulum fan.
I am. I certainly am. I remember I used to go, so backstory, back in the year 2004, 2005, that sort of time, when I was coming into my emo era, because, you know, I had black hair, skinny jeans, all that malarkey. There used to be a teenage adults club. You know how they do the adult nights? Like,
you brought this up before, but I can't remember the name.
It was called Subculture.
That's it, Subculture.
So that was the adult one. There was a version of it on a once a month on a Saturday called Teen Culture, where you pay a $5 and you go into the club and you'd be exactly the same, but no booze, essentially.
So worse.
So yeah, worse, but you were teenagers, so you went and got bladdered beforehand, so you didn't have to drink when you were in there. You'd pre-drink as a teenager.
You'd go to the field to drink White Lightning like every other Grebo emo
exactly.
did.
Or you go to Pigeon Park and just chill.
Yeah. Pigeon was just a weird place.
It was.
And you'd meet up with people on MySpace you don't fucking know. Like, it's a miracle we weren't murdered.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was doing that every week for like 2-3 years.
Yeah. It's a real thing. I remember going to Pigeon Park a lot. This was when, like, I knew you, but, like, we weren't hanging out on the reg. I would go to Pigeon Park so often so that the person who was the person that I spent the most time with at the time could just go and meet girls. Like, he'd just, like, friend them on MySpace, and I'd have to, like, third wheel the whole fucking time.
You poor fucker.
I mean, look at the fucking
you should have come with me. We got some old geezer to buy us Jack Daniels and Frosty Jacks, and we just get trolleyed on a field.
See, that sounds more fun. Like, I'd rather be doing that, although I can't say that I didn't do the Jack Daniels on a field. We all did it once.
Yeah, once. It was a weekly occurrence.
I was somewhat more conservative on the booze than you before I hit 18 and went mental. Anyway, so going back, I remember first hearing this song in that teen culture event. Which song specifically?
It was Slam. And it was the first time I'd ever seen a mosh pit to a non-heavy song. Yeah. Everyone lost their shit. This went off.
Is this the do 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 do? Is that Slam? Do 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 do. Yeah. I know which one it is now. Yeah. It went off for that.
Yeah.
Not Tarantula.
No, so Tarantula I don't think it was out when we were at the club. They only had Slam really, and they were just trying it. But when the beat dropped, everyone just went into like a. It was great.
Wall of Death to Pendulum.
Yeah, genuinely.
That's funny.
But if you saw them live, there's a reason that they play Download.
Yeah, I mean,
because they are a drum and bass act that play the drum live.
This is the interesting thing about Pendulum, and why I think it's interesting that Terry asked us to cover their debut rather than In Silico, which is the follow-up. Yeah. Because that's the one that features like a full fucking band as opposed to like drums and producers. Yeah. Like, that's the one that features, like, guitars and, like, full-on, like, dedicated vocals. So this is, like, it's a version of Pendulum that pretty much existed once. So I find that very interesting as a
is.
thing to analyse.
But it's also where some of their better works came from,
In your opinion.
in my opinion.
But let's see whether that matches. Yeah, so we've covered the album we're covering. We've talked about who suggested it in. We need some facts and or figures. By the way, I didn't listen to the whole record before this recording. Thank you. Facts and or figures about Hold Your Colour.
So it originally came out on the 25th of July 2005, and it was a debut studio album by this Australian drum and bass group Pendulum. I did not know they were Australian.
There you know.
I've learned something new. And it is an album that reshaped modern drum and bass, pulling it into the mainstream. So this album actually got a re-release.
Yes.
Which was in 2000 and...
I want to say 7.
Yeah, it was like 2 years later, I think.
Yeah.
2007. And where they actually took the last 2 tracks off the album and replaced them with 2 very different tracks.
Yes.
Which was kind of off-putting. And I had to search out the last 2 tracks off the original release so we could cover it properly.
Yeah.
Have you listened to Another Planet and Still Grey?
Yes.
Good.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't have much to say about them. I would have a lot more to say about Blood Sugar and Axle Grinder or Axe Grinder.
Axle Grinder.
Axle Grinder. I mean, let's be real. I think the one that everybody knows is Blood Sugar. I remember hearing that. We've got to talk about it here because it's not part of the consideration for the verdict. I remember hearing that for the first time when I was in university. I came to early Pendulum very late. I was more familiar with the in silico, like, rock metal drum and bass fusion act of Pendulum rather than a dedicated drum and bass producer with live percussion band. So I wasn't into that. And we were looking for, funny enough, I was doing a radio show on the student radio station for University of York. We were looking for tracks to use as like a lead in to our show starting. And I think now this was like big dubstep years. So, like, I think we ended up using a track by Nero or something like that. Skrillex wasn't in the conversation, remember that, but it was...
Nero was huge back in, like, guessing early 2010s?
Yeah, it would have been. So, I think, I want to say the track's called Apocalypse or something like that. We ended up using Nero. But the first attempt of making that ident was using Blood Sugar, and it was the first time I'd heard it. A friend of mine, who is a much better drummer than I am, showed it me. I was like, oh, fuck, like... I get why you were into them as a kid because it was in that kind of like, I will listen to absolutely everything without actually having any critical thoughts about what I'm listening to. So I'll be listening to like Pendulum, fucking Cradle of Filth, Rihanna. My iPod was a fucking state.
Yeah, same.
It was a weird time. But yeah, no, I maintain that Blood Sugar is brilliant. It's just a shame that I can't consider it for this album.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I grew up listening to stuff like this anyway because my dad was massively into garage. So this is just like an evolution of garage, realistically. It's just garage with more drops. So basically, I'm behind it, and the jungle is massive. Wicked.
We need jungle, I'm afraid. I love that meme. That's very good. Yeah, no, it's so weird to be talking about an album that kind of feels like it was a new discovery at a point where it was already kind of old. Like, I feel like I came to the party on this so fucking late. And it was always kind of in your household. So this feels like a lot closer to you. This feels kind of like the reverse of the Queen situation, where like Queen's just been a periphery in my fucking life the whole time. And you had to kind of like come to Night of the Opera with new eyes. So I very much tried to come to Hold Your Colour with new eyes, and also mourning the loss of Blood Sugar, which I got to say, I don't know what version has the lead in with the sonic recreation of the end of the world as the start of it. I don't even know if that's actually by Pendulum, that lead in, but it's equally as iconic as the track itself, with the dropout before the first big drop of the song, with the "fuck it, I lied, it's drum and bass, what you gonna do" in Microsoft Sam or whatever the fuck that was. But so iconic, and just such a shame we have to like divide that from the record. It feels like it's like spiritually at home on, but you know, them's the breaks.
That was originally Blood Sugar.
Yeah, what I'm saying, did Pendulum make that? The sonic recreation.
I think that might have
intro.
been on their Jungle Sounds Gold album. because they have a compilation album where they work with a lot of different producers.
Right.
And that's where I really got big on them, because I listened to that album with one of my friends, Ben, and we were both adamant that we discovered that album, even though I think we both just shared the same album off our legal acquiring website at the time. But yeah, it was such a good album. I think that one came off Jungle Sounds Gold.
Maybe that would be a good episode for us to come in with like an album that we think we've discovered.
It's like 46 tracks, so
46
it's
tracks.
a compilation album. It's
Jesus
like multiple
Christ.
discs. I used to have that. Like, I had an MP3 player that could hold like 3 albums, and I just wiped it and put that entire album on there. It was great.
So it's like a Ministry of Sound kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But Pendulum produced.
Interesting.
Anyway,
Interesting.
let's get back into it. Do you want to guess how many singles there were?
5.
6.
Fuck, I was one out.
Yeah.
I'm off it on this record. By the way, we're not recording in the heat wave anymore. We did 2 episodes and we nearly died, so we stopped. So these episodes are very much in cooler conditions, which is very nice.
With the singles, they were all doubles.
Yes, I saw that, which basically means most of the album was released by the time they'd done the singles.
Yep, 100%.
But there's some like legendary fucking pairings.
Yeah, so it's Another Planet and Voyager. Back to You, Still Grey. Tarantula, Fasten Your Seatbelt. Slam, Out Here. Hold Your Colour and Streamline. And then Blood Sugar and Axle Grinder.
Yep, they're part
So
of the
technically
singles.
there were 5, but that was an extra one for the re-release.
Yeah, I mean, if you had Blood Sugar, you put it out, right? If you made Blood Sugar, you just put that shit out straight away. It's very interesting when it's like there were 5 singles, but technically there were 10 because there were double A sides at the end of the day. So yeah,
so they pretty much put the entire album out.
It's one of those where I think maybe the strategy is very different when it comes to a predominantly dance album. You're not looking for chart hits, right? You're looking for club plays. You're looking for like dance floor fillers. You're not trying to sell singles. And I think that puts Pendulum in a really weird position compared to its contemporaries, especially considering what they'd go on to do.
Exactly.
When they are playing download, I imagine that they've sold a fraction of albums compared to their contemporaries, and yet are equally as big.
Yeah.
And equally as hyped.
Well, they hit UK #1 in independent albums.
They did.
2 in dance albums. And 29th in the overall chart.
And that's the discrepancy, isn't it? Yeah. Like, you wouldn't get reported at a sub 20 album.
No.
But #1 in the dance, #1 in independent. Oh, yeah, now we're talking.
And they hit platinum status.
And they'd go on to be on MTV2 and weirdly like Kerrang when they did Propane Nightmares, the following album. So, like, they were no stranger to being weirdly adopted into the metal scene.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's such a weird choice.
It's just the fact that they've got such an incredible drummer. And then there's bands that followed on continuing that same thing, like Mode Step, who were a dubstep band with live instruments that were really popular and really good. Dropped the live instruments, sales dropped off, bought the live instruments back.
I'm going to say something there that feels controversial. I don't think you'd have something like Bring the Horizon without Pendulum.
Exactly.
Because, like, you listen, even their early stuff and right up to, like, Kingslayer, it is such a different sound compared to any of it.
I would say a lot of that is down to a producer and keyboard player called Jordan Fish. You wouldn't have him without this, I don't think. I think his influence came from that, and he created a lot of the dancier drum and bass inspired Bring Me the Horizon, because if you listen to their new stuff, it's back to Count Your Blessings.
Oh, really?
And he has gone from the band.
Oh, no, that is interesting. Because
it's like come full circle.
I don't remember the name of the album, but it's the one with Kingslayer on it that felt more
Kingslayer.
Like electronica inspired, which I really liked.
I don't know what that album's called. I lost interest after I forgot the name of the second Bring Me the Horizon album that people say is the second one. Suicide Season. I lost interest after that.
What's the one with Throne on it?
No clue. I lost interest. Is it Sempiternal?
I don't know if it's Sempiternal.
I liked Sempiternal. That was a good album.
But that's a single. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're not here to talk about Bring Me the Horizon. Pendulum. So, should we just kick straight into it? I feel like we've really kind of like filled in the background as to what we think about it. We can go top thoughts. I mean, you've got nostalgia for it, so I feel like you're a good place to start, and then I can counter that.
Yeah, go for it. So let's start off with Slam. It's huge. We're
straight into top songs.
It's just yeah, these are my thoughts.
So I was going top line thoughts for the whole record.
Oh,
But
top line thoughts for the whole thing.
Yeah.
This is a nostalgia trip, like pure nostalgia trip. Revisiting it has been great. It has been perfect for boxing workouts. It's been perfect for runs. I've hit a PB in the 5K because I've been listening to this while I've been running. The actual rhythm and the drummer is so technically gifted. Like, the beats are absolutely insane and the songs are just great. Let's get into the tracks then.
Would you say the big beats are the best?
I like beats that crack your cranium. Different band there.
Would you get high all the time?
Get hyper.
If I could make a reference to Peep Show, I will. Yeah, so Slam, yes.
Slam. Such a great song.
I didn't know I knew this song.
See, so when I first heard it, it didn't have the introduction, like that build up, that do 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 do, like that whole part. It was just the boo 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 boo.
Yeah.
So when I heard it for the first time, it got that intro. I was like, oh, this is great. What's this song? But yeah, great song. I remember moshing to it. I remember being thrown at this fat guy who thought he was the dog's bollocks in teen culture, and I knocked him to the floor and just walked back into the circle and started moshing again, and everyone cheered. So it was like a victory song.
But enough about how we met.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Like, what I found interesting is that it wouldn't be for the first time on this album as well. I had a Ratatouille style flashback that was like, I've heard this before, and I searched and searched for like, where could I have, because I was not into this style of music, where could I have heard this? I finally found out where I got it from.
Was it from Skate?
It wasn't from Skate.
Motorstorm.
Yes, it was Motorstorm. So it was one of the first PS3 games I ever bought, and I bought that in America. And I had that and Resistance Fall of Man, like pretty early on. And there's some fucking cracking songs on the soundtrack to Motorstorm 1. This is one of them. Yeah. I was like, why do I feel like this is like driving music? And it's because, the last time I heard this, I was absolutely banging it through a fucking canyon, and I think it was like one of the 4x4 mud runner levels, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, I can't drift to this song. I know where I know this from, and like Ratatouille guy going back to his yeah, oh yeah, no, it turns out I do know this one. I do like this one. I do think it does deserve to be in the best tracks. What did I write other than that? Because I wrote something specifically, but my phone decided to lock. Let's have a look.
And while you search for that, there is another track that featured on a different game, and I would not like to hear the track on this game because Hold Your Colour was featured on Dance Dance Revolution.
Was it actually? How many I mean, we can answer that question. How many games have Pendulum been on just this album? This is what I worry about.
3, 4.
Oh, you're actually doing the count.
There are 5 games that have been in, but it's also been on CSI, Skins, Underbelly, Nines Wide World of Sports, and Gladiators.
Do you feel the power? That Gladiators.
Sky One's version of Gladiators.
Oh, the shit one that didn't use the good intro. Oh, yeah. Fuck them. The thing I worry about Slam is that I wonder whether both me and you are allowing nostalgia to do the heavy lifting on that.
It is a great song.
But it's fucking good.
It is a good song.
But is it good because we just go, I like that tune from back in the day?
But no, it's just because it's banging. Like, it has got such a good rhythm. The drums are insane on it. Like, if you're going to talk about any track on this album, Slam has to be up there. It's like absolutely fucking railing the hinges off the door. It's like, I'm fucking here. This is my thing. You're going to listen, and it's that's the reason why this is the first full track of the album. Yeah,
because obviously the prelude is kind of whatever. But this as an opener, I do feel is very, very strong. It does continue, in my opinion, into Plastic World, which is the first one with a feature on there.
And sax.
And sax, which we always advocate for more sax. It's not quite Gabby Rose, but I'll take it.
No.
But I like that this one is more chill, so it does feel like there's kind of a bit more dynamic arrangement of the tracks across the album. The vocal edition on this is very nice. It's not overbearing, and it doesn't really detract away from the big beats that are the best, and you should get high all the time. I just kind of liked it. I wasn't overly kind of like enthusiastic about it, but I was still enjoying the album at this time. I was like, this is still a good time. I was getting my head down and getting some work done to it, because I don't know whether you've noticed, Rob, I'm not a runner.
No.
I don't know whether you've seen how fat I am.
Okay. This album's great for gaming as well.
Now, that'll be the interesting
Team
thing.
Fortress 2,
Yeah.
with this on in the background, I was on a 23 kill streak as a soldier.
Maggots. That sounds mint, actually. Now that I'm getting the hang of gyro aiming, maybe I should do that. That'd be quite fun. That would be quite fun.
I can't get you. I can't need you.
Is that Plastic World? The turn of structure. Do that one. That's the This felt very retro, in kind of like a late 90s kind of vibe.
Yeah, 90s garage.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't have that much of exposure, and I don't feel like I can be much of an authority.
Does it
about
remind you of Craig David with like E1 when the crowd go, whoa, see you later?
A little bit.
Style.
A little bit.
Yeah, so it's like So Solid Crew sort of style. That sort of 90s to early 2000s garage.
Because because now it's garage and kind of like acid music, like it's not something that I've got a fat lot of experience with. But when I hear it, I think it is evoked. You know, that kind of feeling is evoked in this track, even if it's not like the main takeaway from the whole album.
Couldn't agree more. Yep.
But it's a nice little thing. You tell me more about your favourite tracks, though.
So I'm going to go into Fasten Your Seatbelt as well.
The note I wrote for this one, which is definitely feels like I've heard this on a YouTube MLG clip compilation. Again, feels like it should get a free pass for nostalgia. And moreover, it's the only track on the album that samples Spider-Man 2, which I really enjoyed.
Combination style.
Could you imagine if that was the clip from Spider-Man 2? No, obviously it's Alfred Molina saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts," as Otto Octavius. So I was like, oh, fuck, that's a Spider-Man 2 clip. Like, I know Alfred Molina when I hear him. So that was fucking dope. As somebody who wasn't expecting it, hasn't heard it before, I think that the sampling was much more tasteful here than I think than some of the different tracks on the album. The previous one was the one that goes Sound Boy. That's that one,
yeah.
Yeah. It's this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bit's good. That you get the bam 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 bam. That's this one.
Yeah.
You get that the kind of like the calming kind of run-on effect from
and the
previous
button
one.
presses as well, like ding 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 ding.
Yeah, you get that. There's a lot of layers to this, which I think are kind of, compared to the other perhaps singles on the album, a little bit kind of lost in the shuffle. Now, this one was the one that was released with Tarantula, which I feel like if somebody had to pick out if somebody had to pick out a track though, like off the album that wasn't Blood Sugar, you're not allowed to have Blood Sugar, I think most people would go, that's the Tarantula album. But Fasten Your Seatbelt as a double A side with this, that's fucking chef's kiss.
It is. That is like the perfect ship. Like, I could not think of a better one. Let's go into Tarantula.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd hear dancehall and jungle mixed together so well.
Yep.
And again, later versions of the Teen Culture event went fucking nuts for this. I don't know anybody that had a Bluetooth enabled smartphone when we were 14, 15 that didn't have this on their phone.
Yeah, this was up there with the Enter Shikari, Sorry You're Not a Winner demo. That's the one. But like the horrible shitty quality one.
Yeah.
No, this was like I think what I liked about this is that even though it's the iconic bit is the kind of the dub style, like you say, kind of reggae-ish kind of vocals, but the chorus piano and the synth horns like really set off that kind of, this is exactly what we're drawing from. Like, we are going to be pulling from specifically that kind of music, and I think it's Spider who's the guest vocalist on this,
which is comical considering it's a song called Tarantula.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it?
And you get like the whole motif of it like slowing down and then the speeding up like you've been bitten by a spider and you're having a heart attack.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I wasn't about to say that. What I was going to be talking about was more electronica elements. Also, weirdly, this was featured on Motorstorm Pacific Rift.
There we go.
Which is the sequel I did not play. So
I did.
Did you play Pacific? Was it good?
I didn't play the first one. I played the second one. I think I played it for half an hour and it was shite. I just remember it needed a download of like 10 gig to be able to play, and my internet was 10 meg.
Ooh,
So I had to
killer.
leave my PlayStation on for like a weekend to be able to download it, and it still wasn't done.
That's what everybody's going to be experiencing for Grand Theft Auto this November, isn't it? Just like, I had to leave my console download for a fucking week to download that thing.
Because it don't have a disc, does he?
No disc.
No.
Well, not a gaming podcast, but it is bullshit.
I know.
Anyway,
Anyway, Tarantula, great. It's just ferocious. I think that's the only way you can put that song.
It's very good. I love that. It's something that I've come to appreciate on a lot of different records. I'd say most commonly reminds me of kind of the earlier Skindred stuff, even though it's kind of not in the same kind of vibe, really. Although weirdly, there's a feature. Now this is a pull. There's a feature on the latest Lily Allen album.
Okay.
And this is in my head because we went to the live show of Lily Allen Does West End Girl.
The one where she didn't speak.
The one where she hardly spoke. She basically just did the show, like the album start to finish in order, which I gotta tell you, really fixed all the problems I had with the album. Like, genuinely, like, might be an unskippable gig. Who knew? But no, this reminded me of one of the songs off there called, and I'm gonna get the title of this wrong, Monogamy.
Okay.
As in monogamous mummy. And there is a feature on that, and I'm going to get the name of the person because...
Spider.
Could you imagine if it was?
Is it DJ Fresh?
Sorry, Monogamy. Yeah, Monogamy with Specialist Moss. That's the featured vocalist on this. And listening to this week, on the same week as going to that concert, so starkly reminded me of how, like, that kind of, like, very strong kind of, like, Jamaican leaning vocals. It just sets a fucking vibe. And on this, where it's like, you're gonna fucking die, compared to the Lily Allen one, which is like, I'm miserable and trying to be something that I'm not. And just every time this kind of like jovial dub style vocal comes up, I'm like, but I'm having a good time no matter what. It doesn't matter if I'm going to die or be miserable. Everything's great. It just lifts the material so much, I think, in both cases.
Yeah, 100%. It's just a perfect mix of vocals and backing track. Like, I don't think they could have done that track any more justice if they'd have tried. And we'll follow that on with, I really like Sound of Life.
You have to remind me which one Sound of Life is.
One with the female vocalist.
Oh,
I feel warm. Sound
yes.
of life outside.
With Jasmine Yee.
That's the one.
Yeah, that kind of... this may be wrong. Maybe I was just in a mood for playing old games, but like it kind of gave me a combination Jet Set Radio and Kingdom Hearts promotional video vibes.
It gave me Outrun vibes.
Outrun? Oh, okay.
Because you can imagine like a Miami sunset with this on in the background.
It's dreamy. I get that. Yeah, 100%. I think the vocals are great. I think the instrumentals, perfectly cromulent, too good.
I think it'd be monumental live.
Now, that would be interesting. And I don't know how well it would work, especially considering that, it's female vocals. Pendulum does not have a dedicated female vocalist. I'd be interested to hear it. It certainly wasn't one of the ones where I'm just like, I can't fucking listen to this. It wasn't anywhere near that. Quite enjoyable. Very happy to have heard it.
Awesome. Follow up with Hold Your Colour. So the title track for a reason.
Yeah.
With the So Kiss Me.
Yeah.
Against the wall.
That's the one. Again, that contains vocals from the guy who would go on to be the lead singer, isn't it? Is that right? Yeah. Thought so. And you can hear that early band sound kind of throughout, and it kind of feels like a progenitor to everything they do in Silico. The vocals are clean. I like that they're clean. It kind of contrasts against what we've had quite a harsh album leading up to this. Maybe not in this track, but it's a nice kind of like escape from that sound. It does elevate the music. I can just about forgive. You start to get a little bit of that kind of dubstep wobble bass in this. It's not for long, but there's a little bit, and it just sets off the old PTSD on that.
Yeah, but you have to expect that with this is early, like, well, I wouldn't say early drum and bass. This is like mid drum and bass, pre-dubstep. Dubstep is on the doorstep.
Yeah.
It's coming whether you want it or not. I'm a dubstep enjoyer, so I take that with a grain of salt.
It's on the drum and bass dubstep EDM pipeline. And like, I as soon as you get past drum and bass, I don't vibe with it anymore.
But what I will say about this and about Pendulum as an act overall, you don't get any tracks where you think this is just the same loop repeated. every go round is slightly different. They'll add a new layer or take something away. It's like you're not listening to this, like they haven't put it into a DJ program and just put loop drum with this backing and then just sing over the top of it.
Yeah.
Every loop round, there's a new element, whether it's synth, whether it's just a wow, different sound element in there just to keep it fresh and different for each listen.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they'd be great live, because the DJ just go fucking nuts. He's probably got one of them MIDI pads and he can just tap and just do the sounds live.
See, and now I think kind of like the space to almost make it oddly jazz-like, and kind of riff on stuff live.
Drum and jazz.
You know what? Fucking make it happen. I think that's what would make seeing Pendulum live very interesting, is just how much they can differentiate from what is on the original track here to what they're able to pull off with a live kind of responsive audience. Yeah. I'd love to see that, because Pendulum kind of positioning themselves as somewhere between rock and drum and bass. It's very unique in the sense
drum and bass.
It's what, sorry?
Drum and bass.
Drum and bass. Hell yeah. Because you know, I don't feel like if you're a music producer, because a lot of the features on here are producers. You know, you've got like Tenor Fly, Fresh, Fats. Like, these are people that are like, you want to fucking hurt these people's names. They're just guys. They're just engineers. Very good at what they do. Do not get me wrong. But like, you're making music for people who make music, as opposed to you're making music for a live crowd. And if at very best, you're making music for a crowd in a club, which is very different to a sea of people staring at you watching your craft.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, there are probably DJs out there that are going to disagree with me. I know some that almost certainly will disagree with me. But that is my opinion of somebody as a live music enjoyer as opposed to a live playback enjoyer. Again, I don't want to drag them down, but I do think it's inherently different. It puts Pendulum on a pedestal. Wow. That was fucking stupid. They are unique in that space, and I think that's what makes this album interesting to listen to, if at times a little frustrating, which is, I think, something that, unless you've got any more positive tracks, that I think we can get into now.
One more, Girl in the Fire. The mix of acoustic guitar into drum and bass as well. I just like how there's like a little bit differentiation. It's like really clean acoustic elements that just mix really well into the beats.
Fair enough. I will start with Girl in the Flyer.
In the Flyer?
Girl in the Flyer, yeah.
Oh, there she is. It's Annabelle.
She's been advertising pizzas. I enjoyed the nice slow build on this. I enjoy it, but I wouldn't write home about it.
Okay.
And I think we've kind of like got to the point where I just either stop having feelings or start having negative ones. So I think it's a time to go into kind of the things that don't work as well. Now, I'm not an authority on this. I can list on my hand probably how many like similar artists I like. Now, Pendulum, I liked the In Silico era, so I'm going to put a thumb up for that. I confidently listened to quite a lot of Machine Girl, who are kind of like, they did a soundtrack for a game called Neon White, amongst other stuff. I think they're an incredibly good group. I remember liking Madion. Do you remember Madion?
I don't know.
Kind of like a French house producer.
Okay.
Did a couple of tracks in the early 2010s.
Are you going to throw Hadouken in the mix?
I was never a Hadouken guy.
Neither was I. And I saw them live and they were fucking awful.
Were they really bad?
Yeah.
I mean,
they changed, like, they did that one song that was famous and then everything else was different. It was weird.
Yeah, they did That Boy, That Girl.
Yeah.
And then nothing else.
Nothing else was similar. Like, I saw them live for free. Like, I reviewed it, and they weren't good.
Yeah. The regrettable one is Crystal Castles, because Guy from Crystal Castles is a fucking monster. But I did like a couple of their tracks. And the last one, they're not even really a fucking EDM dance band. They're kind of like more dance rock. But I was into Fenech Soler for a while.
Okay.
Their first album, if you like kind of like mid-era Pendulum, try Fenech Soler. They're quite good. That is confidently all of the dance music I've ever listened to. So please do not take what I'm about to say as gospel, nor should you ever take me seriously. I stopped writing notes after Hold Your Colour. When we got to The Terminal and Streamline, Another Planet and Still Great, I stopped writing notes. And there are a couple of reasons for that. For one, I was struggling to connect with the genre, and that's because I have very limited experience with it. And also, it's just not something that I find as much of a focus tool as music with lyrics. Now, that's not necessarily saying I don't like things that don't have lyrics. I listen to a lot of movie soundtracks. I listen to, weirdly, a lot of like classical arrangements when I feel in the mood for it. But like something that kind of like skirts up to this is kind of the work of Junkie XL, and specifically his Mad Max soundtrack. I will listen to that on fucking repeat. So it's not that I need to hear voices. It's just that I need to hear more than what they were giving me in the back half of this album. And I think when you peppered it in against Hold Your Colour, Tarantula, Sounds of Life, Fasten Your Seatbelt, what I was learning was big beats are the best, but big beats are not enough. I think when Pendulum are working at optimal kind of output, when they are giving you their excellent technical ability plus that bit of intrigue. And I think when you lose the intrigue, in my opinion, you lose the intrigue after Hold Your Colour. I just wasn't able to get back into the headspace. And like, I think Out Here is not bad. It's fine enough, but it skirts close to having like more, dubstep wobble bass. I've never been a fan of that. And then there's Through the Loop, which I'm just going to come out and say I think is the worst track on the record, because I think it sounds like a parody of what drum and bass should be, in my opinion. And I say that because, for starters, the sample's off-putting, right?
Yeah.
The Gene Wilder Willy Wonka, there's no way of knowing, the fucking drug trip tunnel sequence.
I think they did that because the perception that people had when that first came out of causing fear.
Oh, for sure. Like, I understand why they've chosen it. I just think that because they've still pitched it up. That's not the original, meter that was delivered into the movie. They've pitched it up and sped it up. And yet it still feels oddly fucking dissonant. It doesn't feel like they've used it to the fullest effect. And it feels out of place by design. And I'm not sure why you'd want to make something so dissonant for dance music. It just doesn't really work for me. I honestly think it really, before I realised it, because I enjoyed Sounds of Life and I enjoyed Tarantula and I enjoyed Hold Your Colour, I think it killed my interest in the album early on. I think that's why as soon as the good stuff stopped, I just could not formulate thoughts for the rest of the record, which is why I've got, and I'll show you, I've got very limited notes after Through the Loop. It goes very, very short to fucking nothing.
Fair enough. I agree with you on Through the Loop. I think it's the weakest song on the album by far. I think it's one of those where it's too long. Like, it would have benefited from cutting off the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, they could have easily cut out the last Willy Wonka section because it's just a damp squib at the end. It's like it builds up, and then it goes.
Yeah. It just
until it goes into the next song. It doesn't need to be that long. Like, it's a shame because some of the elements in the song work well. But I'm with you. I cannot stand the Gene Wilder thing. I just don't think it works. I think they tried to build the song around it and just failed.
Yeah.
And there are stronger songs on the album. If you're going to replace any song on this album, it'd have been that.
100%. I feel like the back half, even though I didn't have a lot of thoughts about it, I think, I still didn't turn it off, but like, I wasn't enthused about it. Through the Loop, I actively was like, I want this to be over as soon as possible.
Like, it's the only track where I was there listening going, oh, okay, I know this one. Oof. Big oof.
Yeah. And it follows Fasten Your Seatbelts, which also had a movie sample and used it to so much better effect.
Exactly. It's like there are so many great songs on this album, and this doesn't need to be there. And I think that brings us to a conclusion.
I think it does, and I hate that it's another album that's going to be brought down by one major flaw, but it's a major flaw.
It is, and it's a shame because I love this album, but I completely agree with you, and I will go by the same logic that I've used on every album, including Abbey Road, and say that this track lets it down. Without this track, this album would be so much stronger. Replace that song with Blood Sugar. Replace that song with Silence. Replace that song with anything.
Yeah.
And this would be an unskippable album.
I'm not sure I agree with unskippable.
For me, anyway.
For you, yeah. Like I say, I think it would definitely be improved by getting rid of Through the Loop. I think Through the Loop is such a time sink on this album. It's such a feels like a waste on a bad idea, which admittedly they fully committed to. But I don't think it's unskippable with it on. I realistically will have questions from the terminal onwards. And even then, that if you're left with tracks 1 through 10, omitting Through the Loop, you're left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 absolutely excellent songs, and then 4 that are just kind of like, yeah, all right, they're fine. And I want to be more enthused than, yeah, all right, it's fine. So it is skipped, but I think there's more to the discussion here. I think the interesting thing now would be the album that I have nostalgia for Pendulum is In Silico. I think the interesting thing would be if anybody out there wants to suggest In Silico, and then we do like a sequel to this episode.
That would be grand.
Because, like, I don't know, outside of Propane Nightmares and Granite, I don't know how strong that album is. I fucking love those tracks. They're excellent. But would it carry the record? I have no idea.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
There is.
You need to get that track into us, along with any other suggestions that you might have. And that is to sending an email to skippedpod@gmail.com. That's skipdpod@gmail.com. I forgot how to spell for a second then. Or drop us a connection on our link tree.
Yes, linktr.ee/skipdpod. There's a form. You can send your email there. You can also get to our socials. You can send us a message on those. And you can suggest your unskippable albums. We put them in the wheel, we spin the wheel, we see what comes up. And what is coming up is potentially the final album of Skipped Year 1.
Never mind.
Never mind, eh? We'll catch you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.